Welcome back to the Free Play Arcade Podcast. It's Chris Delp, Community Liaison of Free Play Arcade, joined by my fellow community liaison, Arthur Williams.
Hello.
And, as always, the CEO of Free Play Arcade. Are we saying something else? A CEO?
I have always been the CEO of Free Play.
Well, yeah, you've always done a lot of things. The lead tech of Free Play Arcade, Corey Hyden.
Lead tech, head chef.
Yeah.
Chief janitor, if necessary.
Right.
Whatever an owner has to do.
We had ourselves a bunch of big plans for podcasts today. This is, what is it, Friday?
The
April 26th.
Avengers Friday.
Yeah, Avengers Friday.
Yes.
None of us have seen it.
You already have seen it, and that's why you're watching this podcast now.
Yeah, thank you.
we
will not be talking about it.
Yeah, we had big plans. Big plans for all these cool podcasts, and then we opened up the news. And our favorite website, Twin Galaxies, is in the news. And I was like, oh my goodness, Corey, I know I said let's stop doing Twin Galaxies podcast because I don't want to talk about Billy Mitchell anymore. And then I came in and said, let's talk about Twin Galaxies because they are in the news.
So, we're going to have to take a quick step back on Twin Galaxies because not necessarily everyone who's watching it, though we've criticized Twin Galaxies, though we've talked about how to fix Twin Galaxies.
This ain't that podcast.
And though we've...
this ain't that.
Some people have felt we've been unfair to Twin Galaxies. We want to go ahead and kind of discuss where Twin Galaxies came from. So Walter Day, a long time ago, starts tracking records in what becomes Twin Galaxies, a online... Well, not online originally. It's a paper book.
Absolutely.
Of arcade records.
Out of a actual arcade in Ottumwa, Iowa, I believe. And yeah, referee uniform. If you've seen the movie The King of Kong, you know exactly who we're talking about. One of the most famous characters in classic arcade gaming. Well,
and of course we received quite a bit of flack maybe a year and a half ago for talking about Twin Galaxies, about how they weren't verifying anything and they were about to have to delete a ton of records, and how Billy Mitchell is a dirty cheater.
Right.
And people were like, how can you say that? He's not a... Boom. He is a dirty cheater. Right. We were right. We've covered that before. And Twin Galaxies has so far had to delete thousands of records as they try to clean it up. And what had happened was Walter Day was just accepting whoever his friends were records. It didn't really matter. There was no real semblance of verification actually happening, unless if they hated you. If they hated you, they were going to make you go through hell to get on the record books. But if they liked you, it didn't matter. You could score 6 million points in Donkey Kong. They're going to put it in the book, or 3 million, or whatever Steve Sanders had. There was no verification going on. So... Walter Day, though, I guess probably around 2014, maybe the end of 2013, Twin Galaxies is kind of stagnating. They've had a little bit of momentum off of the King of Kong stuff and arcades starting to try to come back.
Time to sell high.
So Walter Day decides, hey, it's time to get out of this business. I'm going to try to sell it. And I'm hoping maybe someone in the comments can tell us exactly what happened here. Because though I was in the arcade world at the time, no one was clear what was going on. So I remember a team of people, including Richie Knuckles and the guy who owns 1UP in Denver. I was trying to pull up his name, Jordan Adler. They team up with Billy Mitchell even. This is before it turned out he was a dirty, rotten crook or whatever he is. I don't know. They all team up.
A fine purveyor of hot sauce.
Well, and of computers, not arcade games. So they all team up together to somehow maybe buy Twin Galaxies. And all I know is that in the near future, or shortly thereafter, Jordan Adler, the owner of the 1UP arcade bars in Denver, is like kicked out. So for 2 years, King of Kong is run up at 1UP, his arcade bars. Somewhere along the way, Richie Knuckles all of a sudden owns all of the licensing for King of Kong. I don't know the backstory. I have no idea.
Are we talking Twin Galaxies here?
Well, so Twin Galaxy, they also own Twin Galaxies. So King of Kong and Twin Galaxies are all being kind of run together. It's all part of this big conglomerate thing.
Are we talking about a movie or a tournament series?
No, I'm talking about the Kong Off.
The Kong Off. There we go.
Sorry,
okay.
Kong Off is being run at 1UP. They own Twin Galaxies at the time or for a second. Mm-hmm. Richie Knuckles somehow prized the Kong Off away. All the Kong Off 3 since then have been Richie Knuckles Presents Kong Off or something. And he seemingly owns Twin Galaxies for a minute. It gets transferred around. It ends up I don't actually know when this happened, but a company called VVP. What is their full name? Anyone?
Looking it up.
I am not bringing my computer here.
So a company called Vision Venture Partners.
There we go.
Who's been getting into esports and stuff like that. They owned Echo Fox.
Yes. Well, that's the big one here is Echo Fox, which is the most famous esports outfit, famously named after Rick Fox, the former Los Angeles Laker.
Well, and wasn't it there was a team named Echo something or Echo? He comes in with a bunch of venture capital, kind of builds a whole new conglomerate together.
I don't know where the Echo comes from, to be honest with you.
And then
I am certainly familiar with Echo Fox, but not necessarily their origins. Other than my introduction to them was media articles in about 2015, where it was Rick Fox, LA Laker, that who was at one point married to Vanessa Williams, is now creating his own esports conglomerate. Much like we heard that Nolan Ryan was buying the Texas Rangers, whether that's actually true or not, or some level of truth, wherever it is, Rick Fox is the celebrity owner of Echo Fox, and VVP owns Echo Fox, and VVP purchased Twin Galaxies.
Right, and so VVP then owns Twin Galaxies and Echo Fox, and Rick Fox is a owner of some sort, and just like every esports thing, there's like a million different owners, a million different venture funds coming in to try to fill it with money, because somehow in the future, everyone thinks esports is going to be worth a lot of money.
Yeah, let me tell you what I know about esports. It starts with Echo Fox. It is owned by, in my head, Rick Fox, because that's what I've heard in the media. And then I know the Boston Red Sox owners own some companies, and now I know that many major sports franchises have vested interests in different esports outfits. But the only single owner of any esports outfit that I can identify is Rick Fox owning Echo Fox.
There's a lot of, lately, particularly the Overwatch League, sports teams that are buying esports teams. Yeah. Everyone expects it to blow up and be worth a whole bunch of money. I think eventually it probably will. Kids today are growing up playing these video games. They will eventually grow older and be the large buying power market of America. So it does stand to reason that becoming invested in video games now makes sense, though you will be doing it at a large loss until... some time passes.
I guess the thing is, there's all these criticisms about esports that everyone knows, that they like to talk about because they sound really smart when they talk about it. Like, it's too game specific. What happens when the game's age? There's all these criticisms. But what we do know...
That's why we play Super Turbo. More on that later.
We play old games, and there's no way that they'll ever die, is our new thing. But
yeah, VVP owns Echo Fox.
Right.
Now owns Twin Galaxies as well.
So VVP buys Twin Galaxies, I guess, is an esports type play. And we can't really we don't know them. We don't know their logic in purchasing it. But we do know that the Twin Galaxies name holds a lot of kind of weight in the arcade world. I know there's world record holders across the United States who hate Twin Galaxies and would never submit their scores, but there's plenty of them who kind of hate them, but they're still going to go through it because they want their name on the Twin Galaxies website.
Sure.
It's so strong. So you can see where they
saw
some value.
And if you're going to build an esports brand from a name that's famous in competitive gaming, I mean, Twin Galaxies, I certainly know the name.
So Echo Fox used to be run, and I'm trying to get these websites going, by the current CEO of Twin Galaxies. What is his name?
Current CEO.
Well, once we pull this up on the internet...
Jace Hall?
Yes.
Correct. Jace Hall.
So Jace, he used to be in charge of Echo Fox, running, like, I think their business operations, CEO of Echo Fox or something like that. So he's also has, a pretty broad background in the video game industry, and is...
Yeah, I don't know how much Jace Hall is invested in world records. I don't know that he cares one iota.
I remember it being a big weird thing when all of a sudden he was in charge of Twin Galaxies, and if if I know my history correct, there was at least a period where people thought Jace had bought Twin Galaxies, but I don't know if that's true. It might have just been through this venture funding because it all got kind of wrapped up in that conglomerate. So the big news that we've been kind of tiptoeing around because it's kind of awkward. It's kind of weird.
Super awkward.
And it's weird to talk about is Rick Fox, who brought Echo Fox together one way or another, got funding to bring them together, became one of the major esports players and definitely one of the most notable esports teams around. He has quit Echo Fox because someone involved in the funding, a partner of something in either Echo Fox or VVP, it's unclear depending on the news article you read, was using the N-word, being a racist.
Yes, in emails to Rick Fox concerning... Yes, typing it out, referring to Jace Hall as the N-word. Apparently he's referred to Rick Fox himself multiple times.
The official release from Echo Fox states that a limited partner of the Echo Fox organization who was not an employee, officer, or director of Echo Fox used a racial epithet towards individuals both verbally and via email.
Jeez.
Once it's just towards Rick Fox personally.
Yeah, so Jace Hall, Rick Fox...
understandably upset.
Well, and I don't know them
and
personally. Of course, I think they are black men. And
presumption, yes.
They're African Americans. That's correct.
I definitely know Rick Fox is.
Yes.
I've never met Jace Hall. I don't actually know him.
I've never met Rick Fox either, but I'll be happy to.
So yeah, and so it's kind of shaking through the arcade world right now because, of course, Twin Galaxies, despite everything we've said negatively about them, they're this big name in the arcade community. And apparently some connection has caused some resignations. And now I don't know if Jace Hall has resigned. Well, we don't even know if Jace Hall knew about anything.
I mean, as we're talking, that's why I actually gave the date of the recording. Like, it literally hit this morning. And it certainly caught my eye because, whether or not you like the world records of Twin Galaxies or how they function, over the decades, that has nothing to do with the racial makeup of their CEO. I have heard nothing bad about Jace Hall, and this is disturbing news that, I've been in the fighting games community since the late 90s, I would say, and it has been the most ethnically diverse, time of my life. I go to any fighting game tournament and it's every possible race you could think of, and you don't really think of it because it is so diverse. And Echo Fox is the name, in my opinion, in sponsoring major fighting game players. Justin Wong.
Yeah, right now they have two of the best players in the world. Justin Wong.
Justin Wong is
Sonic
the best
Fox.
at everything, and then Sonic Fox is, in my opinion, the best fighting game player in the world.
I can see an argument. I don't really want to dispute it right now. I don't exactly agree, though.
It's not the
it's not important.
Not the headline.
No.
And of course, Sonic Fox is African American, right?
Yes.
So
he's African American.
How bizarre
he is gay,
that,
according to his Twitter. It's not. There's
how
no.
bizarre is
he's
it
a furry.
Oh right, he was famous for wearing his tail and stuff to different events.
And he'll put on his mask after he wins, his big fursuit.
And so it's weird because of course we're video game players in arcade.
About 20 as well.
It's nuts. So we spend our whole life basically playing whoever is in the arcade, right? There's no racial lines really there. It's just we just like people to play video games with us.
No.
So it's really
the
bizarre.
more the merrier is how I always feel about it.
Indeed.
I think it was really just shocking for us to hear this because it was so out of like character for the industry, like, or at least you would have thought. It seems
I mean, someone who's going to use those words towards anybody, like they need to be in another industry, because this is a incredibly diverse industry. Like, you need to take your nonsense elsewhere.
Well,
and the fact that I hope by the time that this is airing that the name of the individual has been leaked, because
if so, we'll gladly post a comment including his name.
this is abhorrent.
I guess right now it does seem as though, I mean, I'm sure for legal reasons and concerns the investor's name has not been released. Though clearly, even though Echo Fox in the statement is distancing themselves, saying he's not an employee, he's clearly a person of power with some control over the organization. They list him as a limited partner, which we were talking about earlier. That merely just means that he doesn't own a controlling interest in the company. But if he's sending out emails talking about the minutia of different, and also being a total racist for whatever reason, like, that's so crazy. But if he's sending out emails discussing the minutia of the organization, this person is clearly involved in day-to-day or at least big picture type operations, and it's shocking to me.
The first thing is that this is a story at all in this particular. I mean, we're so diverse as a fighting game culture. It's shocking news to hear from me.
Well, and that's like the value. One of the big things I talk to people, and I talk to owners of and investors in big esports teams and everything personally to try to wrap my head around what's going on. And one of the big benefits of esports, one of the big things that everyone is putting this money into, hoping that it pays off down the line, is how diverse it is. It has worldwide appeal. It's not like, the NFL is huge in the United States, but nowhere else. It's not like that. Everyone around the world is involved in playing video games. So esports has captured, obviously the Chinese audience is huge. Asia in general, massive viewership. Europe, Russia, insane. People love these games, and it's a huge, wide, diverse audience. If you look at the finals for any major tournament that has a big cash prize, you're going to see all sorts of ethnicities, all sorts of regions represented on the stage. Absolutely. And to have someone who's making a financial bet, right? They're making an investment to hope to pay off, would just be racist to his own employees, the own people that are working for it. It's just, it's shocking to me.
And that's shocking. And then what we're hearing, the reports are that understandably Rick Fox is quitting Echo Fox over this. But what's shocking is he's quitting, and unnamed investor is not
still there,
getting run.
I mean, it doesn't say that he's selling his shares or anything. He's just gonna. I mean, I think he's trying to send a clear message, and hopefully.
Well, I would like to help him send that message. Right. Well, this cannot be tolerated.
We're talking about it right now,
in the fighting game community.
It's really, it's kind of interesting because it affects us in many ways. We have the fighting game esports that Free Play is involved with on a day-to-day kind of basis. And
We've talked about Twin Galaxies multiple times.
Galaxies.
And they're throwing ethnic slurs at the CEO of Twin Galaxies. This is just stunning.
I'm doing some reading, and I'm thinking. Potentially, it doesn't. I mean, Jace Hall's apparently involved with all sorts of esports events as well as Twin Galaxies.
Well, and he was the former CEO, I believe, of Echo Fox as well. And then he comes from a background in Warner Brothers, and he's certainly an industry professional.
Well, and I was just reading an article, for example, on everyone discussing different esports games that Jace Hall had been running major events for and everything, and these, multi-million-dollar events. And it's amazing, but it's terrible. And we wanted to make sure we commented on it just so that more people were aware that it's still apparently an issue in an industry that we kind of thought we're at least slowly getting past that. And I also recognize that the optics here are kind of weird, like three white dudes just sitting around talking about it. But
just because you're not of a certain ethnicity doesn't mean that you can't care about the
it's true, and it doesn't mean we can't be totally pissed off about it, right?
Yeah, I find it offensive when someone does something like this, and I find it offensive they didn't immediately throw him under the bus somehow instead of protecting this guy, leaving Rick Fox to actually leave. I'm sure more details will be coming out, and if they do, we'll definitely make sure we come back to this to discuss, because it doesn't take a genius to understand that running off huge portions of the population isn't good business. It blows my mind that someone would be racist is being stupid already, but to have yourself, money, I don't want their money. Yeah, what is your goal here? It's very insulting, and I hope that person is kind of found out and is no longer involved in this type of stuff.
I hope the sooner the better. One of the things that came to my mind when I read the story too was my own experience here, which, we've mentioned this on the podcast before about our reviews. But we have had reviews that use the same ethnic slur about some of our coworkers. And I'm proud to say, as not the owner and not the controlling interest in Free Play Arcade, that the reaction to that was swift, and you did not tolerate it at all.
Well, I guess that's the interesting thing. We were just talking about like money, like being a dumb businessman. There is definitely one group's money we don't want, and it's people who are racist and attacking our employees. And it was a really bizarre, like, it felt like a day and a half or so where, for whatever reason, I mean, we do employ people of all backgrounds, ethnicities. It's
genders. It doesn't matter,
right?
Do you love arcade games? That's pretty much your first.
Well,
your
right.
First
The first question is, I mean, it goes from, it doesn't matter what your job is from, you know,
we've talked to Orlando.
CEO to
we've talked to Orlando before. You know,
right.
Part of the reason that he was hired was, hey, I love Crazy Climber,
right.
You know, a love of arcade games. That's just what you need.
Well, yeah, that's
an ethnicity.
That's probably the best way to get hired here. Yeah,
and the best way to catch our ire is to throw racial slurs at our employees. I am sorry.
Right, yeah, that will very quickly get you banned. No one, like, we don't care how many 1 stars you leave us. We're not going to tolerate that. Generally abusing our employees, but especially bringing race or anything that's like that into the picture is just so beneath us as like people. It hurts to even have to deal with. And that was actually a shocking time, I think, for me as an arcade owner to think that, you know, all of our negative reviews forever were going to be you know, someone didn't like old games and they'd be like, I can't believe they'd fill a room.
Sure.
I thought that was going to be the kind of negative reviews, but to all of a sudden be getting like our business attacked because we might hire someone of a certain race is just mind-blowing in this day and age. But I guess it still exists, and that's one of the reasons we're making a podcast like this, just to make sure that we sit here and we say, someone's doing this, it's wrong, we don't agree with it, and it's just, I can't, it's so hard for me to even understand. It's hard.
And it makes me proud to work for this company and not Echo Fox. I don't know what has to be going through the minds of the players who are currently sponsored by Echo Fox. You know?
Well, yeah, and it's so hard because, you know, and we don't know the full exact background yet. So the lawyer inside of me wants to make sure we say this is an ongoing development in this industry that we operate, and we haven't seen exactly how it's all going to bear out.
Sure, I don't have any personal.
I guarantee you, Rick Fox would not have said the things he's saying if it wasn't true. You're not going to say someone is using these words and emails and verbally. If it does, well, yeah, that
verbally you might be able to pull it off. Where I didn't say that, but writing it in an email,
it takes it out of that he said she said thing, and it becomes a there's something organizationally wrong where that person wasn't immediately just pushed away.
I will.
And it sounds like it's been going on for a while too. It doesn't sound like it has been like an immediate thing. It sounds like there were multiple occasions that this happened, and this is pure speculation, but someone as powerful as Rick Fox in that organization, to see him leave rather than be able to just fix it, makes me sad. But it's speculation. We don't know the full story, but we do know something really bad is going on. So we wanted to cover it, and yes, I mean, Twin Galaxies obviously is probably not going to touch this. They're probably not going to release a statement because it's it implicates so much weird stuff. But
with the exception of if this guy is in some way a part owner of Twin Galaxies, man, I don't even know what they need to do. Well, other than expunge this person and
get
kill
rid
them.
of them. That's the answer.
That is quite the black cloud over. Man, the entire esports and Twin Galaxies and Echo Fox, it is a dark day.
So, fun topic. Not something we expect to be talking about, but I guess maybe we'll take a quick break, come back and start doing some mailbag questions. And
sounds good to me.
And talk about something else for a little bit.
Let's go upbeat.
Sounds good. All right, guys, we'll be right back.